Hello, everybody, and welcome to Athletic Definition. My name is Coach Ray Z, and today I had an ultra runner, Zandy, who was going to come on the show, but life happens, and so the show must go on. So today I thought I would talk to you a little bit about my preparation for my Lake Tahoe Triple Marathon, as well as I'm excited about the NBA Finals, and not necessarily because of the teams, but because regardless who wins, we're going to have a Latin representation. We have Lopez on Milwaukee Bucks, and then we have Devon Booker, which most people don't know he's half Mexican, and so I'm Mexican American, and we've had maybe a total of five NBA players who are Mexican in the NBA, but none of them as good and talented as Booker. So I will also talk about that, and so I also wanted to thank everyone for listening in and showing support to the podcast. Just like in many things in sports I've done, you always receive negativity, and people have told me, well, why do you want to start a podcast? You think you're going to be Joe Rogan? There's so many podcasts out there. And I was trying to look at the numbers. It's kind of hard to be certain what they are because the stats keep changing. But from what I could see, there's over 2.5 million podcasts currently, and there's over a million episodes easily. However, out of all those podcasts, there's only about 850,000 that are active. And out of those, most of them have only done maybe 7 episodes, 10 at the most before they quit. And so today marks my 8th episode in about a month. And so I'm mentioning this because anyone who's thinking about doing anything, don't listen to the negative people. Go out and do what you want. In 1 month's time, I have been able to get my podcast pretty much everywhere. I have reached 3 countries: the US, the UK, and the Philippines. I have reached 9 states in the United States, which for me is very exciting, just considering that I'm totally new to podcasting. And so I've reached California, Virginia, New York, Florida, Massachusetts, Texas, Illinois, Ohio, and Alabama. And that does include, my live reach on Fireside. And so, you never know what opportunities will come along and the things that you do in life. And this opportunity that from Fireside is what I've been waiting for. Uh, I always felt like I've been the bench player, always asking the coach, "Put me in, coach. Put me in." And now I feel like Fireside put me in, and so I'm going to take the ball and do my best to perform and make sure that I do the most with the opportunity given. And so I just want to encourage everybody out there to just whatever it may be, leaving your job like I did because you were unhappy, or starting to work out, or you're in a negative relationship, family doesn't support you. Just go out. I know it's difficult, but you can do it little by little. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the marathon now. This marathon is on October 8th through the 10th. And so basically, you run a marathon a day for 3 days. And so you run one Friday, one Saturday, and one Sunday. I did this once before in 2019, and it was the most difficult thing I have ever done. I had a major panic attack, and being from Southern California, going to Lake Tahoe, it was 17 degrees. Never experienced anything like that as far as cold. And so that added to the nerves. And mind you, by this point, I had already, I don't know, completed over 40 marathons. So it's not like I didn't have experience, but we all go through that, self doubt. And it's normal. It doesn't matter at what experience level you are. And, it's really, really difficult course as well because of the altitude. And the second day is the toughest if you ever plan to do it. And the elevation ranges from 6,000 feet up to 9,000 feet. And then the last day is what they call the easiest, and more people do it. So you have maybe about 50 to 100 other runners, which is great for energy. Um, The first 2 days, the roads are not closed, so you will be running along the side of traffic. If that bothers you, I don't recommend it. However, the views, if you've never been to Lake Tahoe, it's just gorgeous. Video that I've taken and posted doesn't do it justice. So if you get a chance to go to Lake Tahoe, I highly recommend it. What I thought was very interesting was the fact that each day that I ran the marathon, I did better. I improved my time. And the reason I improved my time, I feel it just has to do with acclimation to the altitude. The first day I ran, I was pretty much heaving, dry heaving most of the marathon. And then the second day, maybe a quarter of it. And then by the third day, I was really, really breathing well. And I got my best time each day. So that was very surprising. And you could surprise yourself by what you can accomplish. So this year, I'm really training hard. I'm really preparing. I attempted to in 2019. At the time, I was dating someone, and um, it was difficult situations at times. And I guess it could have been really easy for me to blame time that we spent together on lack of training. But this year, there's no excuse. So I definitely use that as a reminder to, you know, I can't use that as an excuse this year. So it's extra motivation for me to train. So I've been training about 5 to 6 days a week, just depending on how tired I am. I'm okay with making adjustments, and I don't beat myself up if I say I have a goal of running like 12 miles, which was today. I ran 9 miles, but I don't beat myself up over it because I ran it in 93-degree weather. And so that adds a level of difficultness and mental toughness. And so even if I didn't reach the mileage, that difficulty, to me, it works out as the same. And there will always be critics, but guess what? There is no book, no video on how to run a triple marathon. So any insight that I'm providing is probably the first information out there. Um, I kind of just took what ultra marathoners do, and what they do is they basically practice running, and then 2 days out of the week they'll go for a long run. And so they'll go for like a 20-mile run on Saturday, and then another 20-mile run on Sunday. And so my mentality was, okay, well then I'll just be active for at least 6 hours. As long as I'm active 6 hours on Friday, 6 hours on Saturday, 6 hours on Sunday, it doesn't matter if I'm not running the whole time. I will be in shape because I don't plan to be out on the course for 6 hours. And so that was my mentality, and it worked. I completed the triple marathon. And so I'm not really changing too much. My strategy would consist of running in the morning before work, and then going to jiu-jitsu after work on Friday. And then after that, on Saturday, I would play basketball for about 2, 3 hours, and then go do jiu-jitsu for another 2 hours. And then as it got closer to the marathon, I would try and go for a run in the evening if I wasn't too tired. And then Sunday would just be my long run. I would just try and run for at least 3 hours. And with that, that was pretty much the method that I used. And it's pretty much the method that I'm using this year. However, this year I've just incorporated the ATG program, which is part of Ben Patrick, the Knees Over Toes, which is one of my coaches. You know, it's very unpopular opinion to say that your knees shouldn't go over your toes, but he's changing the way people see fitness now because it's 2021, and there's a lot of outdated information out there which is actually hurting people. People are getting unbalanced bodies instead of becoming more symmetrical and even, because a bunch of guys, especially when they're younger, all they want to do is bench press, or all we do is go forward. And especially as runners, where's the lateral movement and any backward movement? And so if you get a chance, check out my coach, the knees over toe guy, Ben Patrick. He's great. All the content's for free, so you don't have to worry about that. And then I wanted to move on to the NBA. As I mentioned, let me pull up the stats that I have here. So there's actually two current players in the NBA right now that are Mexican. One of them his name is Juan Toscano, and he plays for the Golden State Warriors. Um, his stats are not the best, as I mentioned. Booker is the best that we have right now, but he's been playing for the Golden State Warriors. Looks like for maybe since 2019, and he's averaging about 5 points per game, and maybe about 2 assists, 4 rebounds. So, I'm very happy. I didn't even know that. Um, so I look forward to seeing him in games. And that's pretty cool to find out that there's like actually two people that represent the Mexican American heritage or just the Mexican heritage. Um, I myself am Mexican American, first generation, and especially with all the racism and stuff, I'm proud to say that both my parents came over here legally and established a business. So I am first generation, and hopefully, just by me saying that, that will get rid of some of the negative stigma that our people have received through the years. And so, back in the day, maybe the most popular, I wouldn't say popular, but longest lasting player in the NBA was Eduardo Naranja. And he played in the NBA for some time, but I would never call him a star or even a household name. He started getting like a household name, within the Mexican community. And he started playing in 2000 and he retired in 2012. So 12 years, that's a long time in the NBA. And he's now 45 years old. And so then we move on to Booker. And Booker was born and raised in Grand Rapids. He was living with his partially Mexican American mother, while his African American father pursued a professional basketball career internationally. And so, you know, when I first heard that, I thought that was pretty cool. And then I started looking into him more, and then you just find out this guy's just a good guy, good, solid character. And in today's sports world, we need to highlight people like that. He has a I saw a story about where there's a fan who's especially challenged, and then um, it turns out he has a sister like that, so he took a liking to her, and she's like his number one fan, and he's really nice to her, and he flew her to New York, and when you find out these people are nice, then it makes you want to cheer for them because not all pro athletes are someone you want to look up to. Um, I'll give you a great example. We're coming off UFC. And if anyone watched the Conor McGregor fight, uh, what a classic! What a classic! Well, let me rephrase that. What Conor McGregor did was classless. I love good and hard competition. I love fighters to go out and leave it on the ring, but there's no need for that. Um, there's no need to be dirty. And after you lost, you should be humble. Um, threatening someone's life when your leg is broken and you can't even defend yourself, and then talking about his wife when you lost, you're just being a sore loser. And so there's no room for that in the sport, in any sport. And it gets glorified too much because that's what sells pay-per-views. And so the people that don't go out and get all crazy don't sell as many pay-per-views. And so I hope that Conor McGregor's days are numbered in the UFC because no one should be that disrespectful to anybody. And so, um, once again, I want to thank you, everyone, listening in. I have a lot of great guests coming up. It's been an interesting road. I'm surprised that some of the people that are interested and are excited to come on the show, and I've been fans of them for a long time. And then there's some people that I'm like, just based on their responses, I changed my mind and I don't want to have them on. I thought they were different. And so It's a very interesting journey, but I wouldn't change anything for the world. And this is the second time where a guest has not been able to make it, and I'm okay with it, because I know that each time I get up here and I do a solo show, I'm improving. So I just wanted to thank everyone listening in worldwide, and when I rebroadcast it, I really appreciate your support. And I have many different show ideas coming up. Um, if you don't know, I have another show with my friend Ty. He's my co-host. It's called Drunks, and we do a beer review. We basically do a run or workout, and then we let you know what beer we're reviewing. And so you're more than welcome to get that beer. And then uh, after you earn your beer by working out, we just have a taste and say what we think. And then we invite the audience up to let us know what they think and just have a nice, good workout beer conversation. Kind of like, I don't know if people have ever done jujitsu or just some maybe running a running group, and when you're done and all that energy's there, people just like to go and kind of have a beer and just relax after they earned it. So that's a show that I have currently out. That's every 2 weeks, and if you click on my bio, you'll be able to RSVP for that and see what beer we will be reviewing. And then besides that, I have a couple other shows coming up. However, I'm going to keep my athletic definition, which is live every Thursday and Friday with different guests. And tomorrow I will be having Chris Ann, which is a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and she's also the host of the Sahi Hour. Um, she has been doing martial arts for at least 14, 15 years that I know, and she practices meditation. And so I really would love to see more women start doing jujitsu in particular because it's such great self defense. I have a daughter myself, and it is really difficult for me to try and get her to do jujitsu. And so I figure the more inspiring different types of body types of women that I could bring on here, and just not just for my daughter, but for all women, uh, be able to feel confident, whether they're at the gym or going for a run or just walking down the street. Um, because jujitsu is about leverage, and so it really doesn't matter how big your opponent is. Um, and a lot of the positions are specifically, I think, when a guy would attack a woman. So I highly recommend jujitsu, and I'll be bringing on a lot of different athletes from different avenues. I'm really working on bringing my friend who's a female boxer, and I would love, just for her to talk to different women. I'm not saying all women have to become professional boxers, but I highly encourage like self defense as far as part of working out. Just lifting weights and cardio and Zumba and all that. That's great, but especially in today's world, we need to be able to take care of ourselves. I have personally been robbed at gunpoint. I have had my car broken into 3 times, and I've caught people in my car at the same time. And I called 911. I got transferred 3 times. And so by the time they came, they were gone. So you need to be able to be prepared to defend yourself and survive until the police come, because they may not come right away. And most people may not even call the police. They'll just take out their phone and start recording. So um, I'm not saying this to cause fear or anything, but these are the realities of the world. And jujitsu is a martial arts that I just highly recommend to anybody. I've been doing it for on and off for like 5 years. And when I first started, I used to just get crushed by big people. And now I get to the point where, I mean, the person could be 250 pounds and I can hold my own. I'm 165 pounds or 160 pounds. And so they used to just come in and smash me, put all their weight on me, and that was it. But I mean, I can honestly say I choked out quite a few 250-pound people. And then, their ego won't have them tap out because they're like, how can a little guy just put me to sleep? So, uh, highly recommend jujitsu. And whatever you do, as I mentioned, um, train hard, compete hard, but not dirty. There's no reason for that. You can injure your opponent, or because that's pretty much the dirty play. I don't really see too much dirty play in individual sports unless you consider it cheating, like people have done in the marathons in the past. But now with timing chips and cameras, they're really, really getting good at catching people who cheat because they always can tell that something's off with the chip. And now they compare previous times to past marathons. So let's say you have ran 5 marathons and they all were at 6 hours, and all of a sudden you ran at 3:30. They're going to be like, how did this happen? Especially like in a year. So, because cheating has increased, preventive measures have increased, but cheating has been going on forever. There's an old video. I don't remember the year, but in Boston Marathon, some lady just jumped out of the crowd and started running, and she got crowned the winner. And that went on for a few days till she finally had to admit, because as they were questioning her, like, well, what type of pace did you do? And things that she had no clue about answering. So she got caught, or she was basically forced to admit the truth that she cheated. And, there's no reason to do any of that. I'm really against cheating. I like to play physical in whatever sport, but fair. And so no need to cheat. We need good role models out there. And the last thing I wanted to mention is the only other thing I have going on this year besides the Lake Tahoe Triple is I will be running my 15th consecutive Los Angeles Marathon this year. That'll be the only marathon that I do till the day I die. That was my first marathon. When I ran it, I did not train, and so it took me about a month to walk correctly, and I look forward to doing it every year till I'm no longer here, and maybe one day I could just somehow, with what I do, just inspire one person, and uh, that makes me happy actually, because when I started all this, I got a lot of negativity, and even along the way, I would still get negativity, but here and there, some people will come and just kind of tell me, "Hey, you inspired me to start working out. Not running marathons, but just working out, or you inspired me to start walking," and that made me feel good. So my intention when I started doing this was not to inspire people. My intention was to get out of depression, to get my mojo back, to feel good about myself, and then it, you know this just kind of happened along the way. And I've been blessed through all the different training that I've done, from boxing to basketball to jujitsu to running. I've met so many great people, and I have a platform to bring them on. So I can't wait for you guys to start hearing more and more of my guests. And since I was hoping once again I would get a bigger audience, but I didn't really announce it because since my guest wasn't able to make it, I just didn't think it would be right for me to get a replacement such short notice and not give them the proper introduction and build up that they deserve. So I decided just to go on here and complete my 8th podcast, which is for me a milestone. I'm so excited, um, and for bigger and better things to come. So I gotta say thanks once again to everyone listening. Thanks once again to Fireside for this platform. And thank you all for listening in. And don't forget to join me tomorrow. I will have Kruzan, purple belt in jiu-jitsu, for a great conversation. And till next time.